right now is former Trump and George W. Bush State Department senior advisor Christian Whiton. Christian, great to see you. What is your reaction to what has taken place so far, and what are you expecting from the vice president's trip to Poland?
Well, what's happened so far, I mean, you do have this trend in the war that's very much in Russia's favor. There's talk that Russia is on the back foot, that things have gone terribly wrong, and maybe they have, but that doesn't change the reality that the encirclement of Kiev goes on. There are rumors that there are advanced talks between Russia and Ukraine, not just the ones we occasionally see about humanitarian corridors and things like that, but actually a negotiation to end the war, to leave Russia with part of Ukraine, to keep Ukraine out of NATO. But those remain rumors that would be consistent with Russia encircling the capital but not actually conquering it just yet, if you want to give yourself power. As for Harris's trip, this is not something you do if you actually want to reassure allies. Harris has been an unequivocal failure in foreign policy, as in other areas. They sent her to Singapore to soothe East Asians about America's presence in the Pacific, and her trip there was broadly considered as an underwhelming failure. And then she went to Munich to the globalist confab called the Munich Security Conference, and was seen to make sort of very stupid statements, very obvious statements about Russia is a country, Ukraine is a country, as if you're explaining the matter to kindergartners. So I don't think they're taking a lot of comfort from her visit.
Yeah, I mean, those comments about the war were just beyond. Look, this is such a fragile situation. Nancy Pelosi yesterday said that she spoke with President Zelensky, Christian, about what Ukraine needs. She said she spoke with him for 45 minutes, but the Pentagon is officially pulling the plug on this proposal to provide Ukraine with the MiG-29 combat jets after days of miscommunications between the U.S. and Poland. Apparently, Ukrainian President Zelensky is still pleading that the countries find a way to send these planes. Here's Zelensky yesterday. Watch this.
Listen, we have a war. We do not have time for all these signals. This is not ping pong. This is about human lives. We ask once again, solve it faster. Do not shift the responsibility. Send us planes.
Christian, what do you think? Will they send these planes? I mean, the Biden administration is now pulling the plug. Virtually everybody said they need these jets. And the way to do it is to send them from Poland, because these are Soviet-era jets that the pilots know how to operate in Ukraine.
Right, and this is another problem with what Harris is going to say today. She's going to say NATO is unified, and unfortunately it would have been better to sort of keep the whole jet thing quiet and just do it, because now it's clear to Putin that NATO isn't unified. Basically, it's one thing for Poland, it thinks, to send Javelin missiles or Stingers, or at least have them transit across its border under darkness of night, perhaps. It's a little more obvious when you're sending fighter jets. That actually might draw Russian attention and might draw Russian military action against Poland. So Poland wanted everyone in NATO to agree to the plan, then for it to go to a U.S. base, and for the United States essentially to make the transit. So that is why it fell apart, because Europe wants, frankly, America to stick its neck out here, doesn't want to do so itself. You're also seeing this in Germany. Germany is hesitating to kick Sberbank, the big Russian bank, out of SWIFT, because Germany has to buy a whole lot of Russian oil and gas, despite what it's been saying about cutting back. Germany is refusing to stop a plan to shut down its last few nuclear reactors, which are perfectly good reactors, because it wants to end nuclear power. So you're seeing a lot of breakdown in NATO and Europe.
Well, probably one of the biggest stories as it relates to this administration during this war is the Biden administration turning to adversaries to fill the gaps in oil in the United States. I mean, we know that he sent officials to Venezuela. He tried to call the Saudis. He's trying to get, he was reluctant to stop the ban on Russian crude. The administration officials traveled to Venezuela last weekend for talks to allow the country to sell its dirtier oil on the international market. We've got a looming Iran nuclear deal. It could also bring Iranian oil back to the market, Christian. And here we have all of those drillers in America sitting still and not doing what they can be doing to create energy independence for America.
That's right. Now, so Biden comes in, he cancels Keystone XL pipeline. There's currently a moratorium on new leases on federal land and federal water. Jen Psaki made a joke about this the other day, citing the sheer number of permits, but there's no ability to move forward, nor are those permits necessarily in the right place. Also, this has been less discussed, but just as important, the administration has talked down investment, basically bullied and threatened people. And so all the big banks, a lot of big hedge funds have been sort of frog marched, and of course they themselves are run by wimps half the time, but frog marched into agreeing to not fund any natural gas, oil, coal production in the United States. So yes to Venezuelan oil, and they threw us a bone with two American detainees. Yes to Iranian oil. Yes to Saudi oil. No to American oil.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the administration is running from it. We are facing an energy crisis, and the energy secretary doesn't want to talk about it. Christian, good to see you. We're going to show you that tape of Jennifer Granholm when we come back. Stay with us.